YouTube, what is up? James Biggie here, and I've shifted the spot I'm filming in a little bit, and there's a very important reason why. I wanted to be front and center in front of this collection of important Spider-Man comics, because I just got back from seeing Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm going to do a review video on it right now, and I'm going to keep it very, very spoiler-free. In fact, I'm going to try to avoid spoilers altogether and talk about it in very general, basic terms, so I don't ruin it for anyone, because I loved the movie. I think it's fantastic, and a great portrayal of Spider-Man on the big screen that we've kind of all been waiting for. So I don't want to ruin it for anybody, so you should be safe here, no spoilers. Before I get into it, a little bit about my history with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's absolutely my favorite superhero, and I'm a dude that grew up loving comic books and superheroes and collecting comics and watching the movies and the cartoons, like my entire life. From the time I could take in media and watch things on television and read, there's always a Spider-Man comic in my hand, or a cartoon on TV, or some way, shape, or form. Spider-Man has always been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I'm a huge fan. I have, from my hip down to my knee, a giant Spider-Man tattoo. I would have to take my pants off to show it on camera, so I'm probably not going to. But that is like my history with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the closest thing to a religion I have. I'm not a religious dude, but I very much consider the works of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko from back in the 60s and 70s to be like my holy text. The character means a lot to me, is what I'm trying to say. A very long way of saying that. Anyway, Spider-Man Homecoming. Absolutely fantastic. This is the first fully fleshed out version of Spider-Man we're getting that is tied into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As far as the portrayal of Spider-Man, Tom Holland is amazing as Peter Parker. The action and the fighting and the movement is a very big deal for a character like Spider-Man. Is right on. Although I thought they did that stuff kind of well in the last series of movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies. The way he moved and fought was about the best thing they did in those movies. They do just as good a job here, if not better. And the movie's also hilarious. It's got a lot of fun to it, a lot of jokes, a lot of heart, a lot of spectacle, and it finally doesn't feel like they're trying to cram too much into the plot of these movies, or that there's parts that they could have done without, or storyline threads that they could have done without. Every character seems to pull their own weight and kind of feel important enough to the story, which is very important, I think. I think the trouble that both of the previous trilogies have had is at a certain point they just try to cram too many villains, too many side characters, too many story threads, and finally they stopped doing that. I believe Marvel Studios having their hands in this, along with Sony, is guiding them in the right direction. I feel like this will be the Spider-Man that we see for years and years and years to come, and I'm totally cool with it, honestly. As far as tone and feeling goes, if you've read the Ultimate Spider-Man books, which I have the first volume of right here, that's kind of what they put a lot of the source material for. Also, coincidentally, there was a cartoon that was very short-lived called Spectacular Spider-Man. A lot of this high school stuff in this movie feels like they pulled from that source material fairly heavily. If you watch that cartoon, you know it's amazing. It's probably one of the best animated versions of Spider-Man we've ever had, and is unfortunately very short-lived because it existed in a time when Marvel didn't have the full rights, or Disney didn't own Marvel yet, so they didn't have the cartoon rights yet. It was replaced with a much worse cartoon in Ultimate Spider-Man, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. A lot of the source material for this movie feels like it's tonally a lot like that cartoon and the Ultimate books by Brian Michael Bendis. And it's all fantastic. They did a really, really good job. This is the first Spider-Man movie that I feel has a villain that didn't feel like they're going to stretch it too far, and it felt like they did that villain justice, and they left threads open so it will impact this series of movies and this universe longer in the long run if they want it to. They also introduced some very familiar characters, and they did take some liberties and did change certain characters. I don't want to mention which. I know a lot of people that keep track of this stuff on the internet and stuff already sort of know or whatever, but they did change some specific details about some specific characters, and I know a lot of people may get mad about that, or a handful of people may dislike that change. It's fine in the movie. It works. It's okay. There's nothing to be angry about with it. I enjoyed all of it. Outside of that, the cameo appearances, there are more than you expect. We all knew Iron Man was going to play a part in this movie somehow, and they did a very good job balancing that and making it not feel like they're overusing Iron Man or that it's just Iron Man film featuring Spider-Man or whatever. Spider-Man is front and center, the star of the movie, and your main character. But Iron Man's cameo, and there is another unexpected cameo from some character I'm not going to mention from the Marvel Universe as a major character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely brilliantly used, and it is so very funny in this whole movie, and they use it multiple times but never feels forced and always is hilarious. A lot of the secondary and tertiary characters, too, are very well fleshed out and well put together. Peter Parker's best friend Ned, who you see in the commercials and the trailers quite a bit. The larger kid of Asian descent or whatever, kind of chubby kid, chubby Asian kid or whatever, is hilarious. Makes a great companion, friend, not really sidekick, but creates a nice levity and a nice amount of humor to bounce off of Peter Parker's sense of humor. Works very well. There's a lot of on-screen chemistry as well between the entire cast, it feels like. Outside of that, like I said, the action is good. It feels well-paced and everything lines up well, and there's not a build-up to one final boss battle like every other or many other comic book movies. Although there is a large fight toward the end of the movie, the build-up is good and worth it and doesn't feel like you're just waiting on that to happen. Plot-wise, they tied things together and put things together well so you care about everything happening. And they also, for anybody who is super, super, super into the comics and has a knowledge of some very small outside minor characters or whatever, they throw you a little bit and make a quick mention of a very specific, very, very, very well-known and very popular and beloved character that basically confirmed his existence in this same universe, which is great. It's so well worth watching. And it's so, if you're into the comics or whatever, you'll see that and it'll just send a little light bulb off and you'll be super excited, because I know I was. That being said, this is probably the most solid, well-balanced Spider-Man movie we've ever had. I think Tom Holland kills it, is a great Peter Parker, is a great Spider-Man, and I look forward to living in a world where we get more and more and more of this, because that's the way they're setting it up. I feel like they have a lot of interesting, fun places to go in its self-contained movie universe and with the Avengers universe and as part of the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. It works well by itself. It works well within the Avengers. I think they're balancing it well. All the high school stuff was great. It's good to see a dude that was in high school recently playing a high school aged Peter Parker. So Tom Holland's a young dude. He'll be around for a while, and I look forward to that. That's all I'm really going to say about it, because like I said, I'm going to say completely out of spoiler area or whatever. It's well written, well done, incredible. The soundtrack is even really good, although not overtly used or not used as a main part in the movie like in Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. But there's some cool songs. Like a song came up that they use in the end credits and they use it in the main movie. It pops up briefly for a sort of montage or whatever. And it's a great classic punk song. I'm not even going to mess with it and ruin it or whatever or say what song it is. But it's really cool, especially with the whole New York vibe. And it is a New York punk song. And that's super cool. So I definitely recommend it. It was awesome. It's finally a Spider-Man movie that's going to stick for the long run. And here's to no more reboots, for sure. That's all I got. Let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments below. Don't be an asshole, though. Don't spoil it. If you went and saw it, just comment below. Let me know what you thought. Keep it very general, very basic. No spoilers. If you absolutely want to talk spoilers to me, hit me up on Facebook or direct message me or whatever you got to do. Also, check out my other videos down below. I'll post a couple here. And click up here on my face and subscribe. I'm going to do reviews of movies that I go see. I see a lot of movies. I'm a huge movie dude. So I'll probably review them if I find them interesting enough to talk about on camera on YouTube. So that's all I've got. It's been a hell of a year for comic book movies. So I'm going to have a hard time ranking all of these at the end of the year. I still feel like Logan's the best probably ever, even of this year and ever. But that's it. Subscribe up here, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.